Really short delay there. Are we live on now? What are we live on? Neat. Oh, it'll take it a minute before it catches up on ultra low latency. There we go. Yeah, there we are. I don't know if it put the proper title and whatnot. I'll go through and fix YouTube afterwards because YouTube.
It was so blackness saying Saturday.
Oh, really?
Can you hear me fine?
No.
No?
It was super bad. It was just on a loop, buffering, and playing itself over and over, and you said with the muffle.
I don't know what the hell is going on.
Adam, can you mute yourself while you're figuring this out? Just because I can also hear Jamie super loud. Also, your computer is definitely taking the webcam feed. That's why. It's not going through your headset, man. Also, hi, Jamie. So for everybody who's joining us, we've had a little bit of technical difficulty today, as is, normally the case with my stream. My streams are just nothing but a series of technical difficulties. So what we are doing today, though, is I wanted to get a lot of the work done on our leather. Our leathery boy here has got all sorts of fun details in the leather that we don't get to normally do on Space Marines, because, let's face it, short of some pouches, normally we don't have a whole lot of leather on our Space Marines, so this is an excellent opportunity to do some nice scratchy leather and really try something new. Oh boy. So my day was pretty all right. My day job is very busy right now, which is always nice. I actually appreciate having a lot of work to do for the old day job. You know how when you're busy, things seem to go by really quick, and even though it's, relatively stressful, it's still a good time. You'll notice I'm not using my holders right now. It's because this guy's got a pin in them. And while I do like to pin the models to scenic bases, I pinned them really early on this model, and yeah, that's just been a colossally bad choice, if I'm entirely honest with everybody on stream. But we're working here with a combination of leather brown and Morocco from Scale Color, and we're using these colors. I'm really using them to start off with. We're just going to put in a lot of scratchy highlights here. You can see I'm being pretty fast and loose with this whole process. I'm not super worried yet about accuracy of color placement and super high highlights and all the rest of it. What we're really trying to do right now is get our texture into our leather. So leather, especially older leather, and especially old used leather, tends to be very cracked, dry looking. And as much as Space Marines are super cool and sweet, and this guy's pretty clean right now, and will stay relatively clean through to the end of the paint job here. This is one part where I wanted to introduce some additional texture and interest into the model, just because they're just sort of big flatness right now. Like, these gloves are just big flaps of brown, and nobody wants big brown flaps. That sounds relatively unattractive. I also want to give some wear marks and texture to the leather itself. So part of that is making our leather nice and textured. And that is best accomplished, in my mind, by layering texture on top of itself. And by layering texture on top of itself, I mean putting these sort of scratchy, broad highlights in, and then coming back and cooling them down with either shadow tone or some other combination of glazing to really bring the model back to not a neutral color, but to sort of, I guess, add depth to the paint job. I don't know why I'm hedging my bets so much on this one. Today has just been sort of a weird day for me as far as having projects go well. It's been sort of a 60-30 or 60-30-10, I guess. Detriment previously.
Task manager for the win seemed fine.
Listen, I love you, and I would like to hear your beautiful, clear voice with the beautiful clarity that is beautiful and clear.
I hate the sound of my voice.
Buddy, if there was
sound dumb.
If there was a recording,
I once was told I'm very monotone.
yeah, it's soothing. It's not everything on the planet needs to be a giant deal all the time. And sometimes it's nice to just have a nice, steady, friendly voice on the other side.
Maybe it's because I'm so mellow sometimes.
You are sometimes.
Yeah, and sometimes I'm the complete opposite of mellow.
I mean, I think we all have our times.
Yeah. I do get worked up over weird things sometimes.
I wouldn't say that they're weird. At least none of the times I've seen you worked up.
I mean, I get pretty worked up talking about Nazis, but I fucking hate Nazis, man.
Dude, F-bombs. I dropped.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's cool. I mean, we can. I have. So I was thinking about this yesterday, and I didn't message you about it, and I sort of apologized, but also, well, we can talk about it on stream, and that was what I decided I was gonna. We should give ourselves a PG-13 rating. Not that is even a possibility in YouTube or Twitch's settings. But we should give ourselves a PG-13 rating just so that we can really save up for that one F-bomb.
I'm okay with that.
Because
like
PG-13 movies, for those who don't live in Canada or the United States, PG-13 movies in the MPAA's rating system, which probably has an equivalent wherever you are, or maybe hopefully it doesn't. You live in a paradise and I wish to live there. The MPAA says in PG-13 movies you can use up to 4 swears that don't include the much beloved F-bomb, and you are allowed to use 1 F-bomb. So one of the pastimes of Reddit and whatever else is if you could include 1 F-bomb in a random PG-13 movie, where would you put that F-bomb in?
I love those.
Oh yeah, and You're an Effin' Wizard, Harry, is one of my favorites.
Yeah, what's the Obi-Wan Kenobi one from the prequel trilogy?
Oh,
it's from Revenge of the Sith. I think the final fight scene.
Oh, is it?
You're the effing chosen one, Anakin. Or
There you
you were
go.
supposed to be the effing chosen one.
You are my effing brother, Anakin.
There's so many in that scene where you could drop it on either side.
I effing hate you.
Yeah.
Buddy. This is why we're friends.
Yeah, right? Crispy Hayden Christensen.
Oh, Crispy Christensen. Hey, he's back.
Yeah,
Did you know
I heard that.
Yeah. He's going to be in the Obi-Wan series. Huh.
You might have an issue with the stream.
Was that?
Jamie said it just stopped on her phone. I can hear it going again, though, I think. Huh. Okay.
Well, we might be dropping frames
It
or
just
something.
Stopped on her phone. I can hear it going again, though, I think.
No, we're still up.
Yeah, that was really weird. I heard my own voice come through my headset speakers. That almost never happens for me.
Nope, we are streaming at 30 FPS at... Oh, God, we are dropping frames. Oh, we are dropping frames.
Oh, yeah, I got the loady wheel now.
Okay, we're back to not dropping as many frames. Stream quality high. I don't know, it's using 4% of my CPU, so, like, not sure what's going on. I have a feeling that is a thing that is happening. I'm relatively excited today because I got to sit through all of Google I/O and then do a bunch of well, not a bunch of. I was also doing actual work while Google I/O was happening. And while doing work and Google I/O was happening, I was supposedly in training with Google at the same time. So I am, for those of you who have never heard me talk about my job before, I am also, among other things, a rather large Google Workspace admin. So with some of the new stuff they announced today, they wanted to do a deep dive thing. So that was fun. And by fun, I mean mostly tedious. But that's okay. So we got a little bit of scratching bits going on. Again, I'm trying to align this with where our actual light source is. So if I'm taking the light source off the backpack, it is going that way across our dude. If that is the case, we're going to get a little bit of hints off there. I'm going to bring up the knuckles a little bit, and then we're going to start mucking about and making our brown our brown leather more and more interesting as time goes by here. But that's mostly what we're on tonight is. Oh, I guess I should introduce. We're on Twitch now.
We're on Twitch. I think I have a Twitch account.
Yeah, that's part of why I was really late getting the stream going, everybody, and why we might be having some technical difficulties on my end. We are, we're running. We're live on Twitch. If you want to join us over there, it's at Choice Minis with a Z, because I used to run, or I've had this account set aside for a long time, and then I accidentally lost control of part of it. Oops, lost control of the account. At any rate, as I go through the recovery process, I'll go back and I am working with Twitch to recover that old account so that I can have access to the account that is also me, but has an email address that is no longer in service attached to it. So that's always fun. Explaining to admins that sometimes you don't pay to renew your domain, and then it deletes all the emails within the domain. That's always fun to explain, right? That's what everyone wants to hear.
Oh, I have to recover my Twitch account.
Neat. You should have a Twitch account from D&D Beyond.
Yeah, I don't remember what my username is.
Neat. Do you want me to go and find it for you? I'm not gonna do that. I'm probably gonna service my streamy masters instead. Which, by the way, we should come up with a name for our streamy masters, our stream overlords. Our beloved community that doesn't need a weird nickname that I'm making weirdly over-sexualized.
Hey, I don't have to log into my account to watch the stream on Twitch.
No, you don't. You don't have to be logged in for anything. Now, if you have a Prime account, you can use your Prime sub to subscribe to us on Twitch. YouTube, however, has decided that I have to have several thousand people following us before we can monetize in any way, shape, or form. So if you want to support the channel, of course, you can always like me on like and follow us on whatever platform of choice. Of course, if you're on Twitch, that is just hit the follow button down at the bottom, subscribe and follow. If you are watching us on YouTube, you can, of course, always like and subscribe. If you want to follow more of what I do on an ongoing basis and see update photos and whatnot, I am both on TikTok at Choice Minis and on Instagram at Choice Minis. You can follow the other disembodied voice on this channel, Adam Grimm, at beach_vacation_bando.
That's true. Oh, guess what showed up today?
What's that?
My Orkland Raiders t-shirt.
Oh, nice. So yeah, if you guys want to grab merch, we got stickers, we got t-shirts, we got club jackets. I have a club jacket on order, by the way, because I cashed out and went with the club jacket. So
I'm not gonna lie, for everyone listening, this shirt out of the bag, like it's a little big, but I can tell once I wash it and get that like initial little bit of shrink on it, it's gonna fit like perfectly. It's also really, really soft.
sorry, Adam, I dropped out there for a moment because I needed to remove my hoodie. Because it is
talking up the the t-shirts.
Oh yeah, no, they're nice t-shirts, man. I've got one of
Yeah.
each. I haven't ordered a hoodie yet, only because we're exiting kind of hoodie prime time in the northern hemisphere here, so it was just seemed like one of those things. I was like, I'll get this just before it becomes wintry again, and in that case, I'll have it when I actually want it, as opposed to sweating bag all the way through the summer.
That's totally fair. Sweating bag all summer is going to be kind of my job.
Yeah, that's fair. And
I did find out that the site allows shorts because that's actually determined by our client.
ooh, shorty shorts.
Oh, I have my shorts rolled up in my bag for work if it gets too hot.
I really want to be your coworkers and experience you in shorty shorts for the first time out again. For those of you who joined us this weekend while we were playing Forgotten Waters and Rats, you've gotten to see both Adam and I in person, and shorty shorts is definitely a lovely thing on Adam. He's definitely got the legs to take care of it. I am sounding particularly into you today. I don't know if that's making you uncomfortable. I could stop if you want me to.
Not at all, dude.
All right.
I get a lot. The guys at work are obsessed with my butt.
Fair enough. Just on the palette there, I threw down a little bit of Indian yellow ink. This is what we're gonna use to bring some extra warmth into the gloves, like just into the leather on the gloves. So you can see right now, I'm using fairly desaturated tones, and I do like using desaturated tones, but we're gonna mix that with a little bit of AK Interactive Ultra Matte Varnish, and just to thin it out a little. I don't like the way that water and ink act together. That's just a me thing. It feels sticky on the brush, and I don't like it. I know that is a really weird way to describe that, but I want a nice thin glazed consistency for the ink. Inks are incredibly pigment heavy, and as I said, I feel I get the stickies on the brush when I'm using inks in combination with a lot of water when I thin them down. So this is just one of those weird ways that I don't know if it's just psychosomatic or something, but like it feels much nicer to me this way. So you guys can see just how intense that yellow ink is, right? It does dry slightly less intense than that, but this is great because it builds in warp to the highlight parts of the highlighted parts of our leather. So you can see, and maybe I should talk about how we've done on the rest of the bottle. We have kept to our universal highlight color, which is white sands. So we've used that in a lot of places on the model. Going over things like the backpack and stuff, you guys can check it out on Instagram, how exactly I do the armor on this guy, because you can see it drops off into very, very cool blues in the shadows. If you take a look at the back of the backpack, maybe I can get it in focus here and actually keep it on stream. On the back side of the backpack here, it is a very cold color compared to what we're working with on the light side of the backpack. Now you may be thinking to yourselves, that's really awful that you lit the back side of the backpack and it's not the front, but of the model, it's cool. We're doing some really dramatic lighting on the face, but
I think Jamie's laughing at our comments about me in shorts and my butt.
That's totally fair. It was an attempt at humor. An attempt at humor was made. I don't know. I'm feeling particularly homosexual today. Not. Yep. I'm just gonna leave it there. You know what? I don't.
You know what? That's okay, dude. I love you no matter what. Like you could be purple and covered in tentacles, and I would still love the hell out of you.
That's fair.
I mean, actually, if you were purple and covered in tentacles, that would be pretty cool.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Now I want to be purple and covered in tentacles. I'm just feeling self-conscious about just how gay I sound on this stream, and I'm super not. I don't know how far we need to get into it, but the best way to describe what I super am is nothing. So, like, meh. But apparently today I'm just going to sound super into you, so that's fine. That's cool. That's a different way to go.
I'm okay with that, man. Like I'm pretty. I get it.
You are very pretty. I mean, not as pretty as my dogs, because they both, as soon as I said pretty out loud, both of them woke up and looked at me and was like, "But I'm the pretty one in your life," and felt a little bad. I'm getting guilted by my dogs, dude.
That's fair. Rocket's kind of he doesn't care.
Yep.
He knows he's pretty, and he's like, what are you gonna do about it?
Oh, my dogs are both having a battle for which of them is the prettiest, and I don't want to say this out loud because they'll hear me, because they're both laying basically underneath of me. Artemis is the pretty one, but it's also Apollo is going through a really awkward stage right now. He is just about 6 months old, for those of you who haven't tuned in before. I have 2 Shiba Inu puppies, Artemis, who is just over 2 years old. Actually, she came home exactly 2 years ago on Sunday, so neat bit of trivia for everybody. But yeah, between the two of them,
will be a test.
Yeah, there will be a test. You have to both know what my dogs' names are and their exact ages and when they came home. Because otherwise, Are you even a fan if you don't know those things? The answer is yes. I would expect no one to care about that sort of stuff. But yeah, Artemis is very pretty. She is just her eyelashes are to die for. I won't lie. She is just a very, very pretty dog, period. And then it doesn't help that right now her brother is in an awkward growth phase where he just looks super dork. He's just an awkward noodle right now, and I love him so much, but he is just awkward noodles right now.
I mean, that's fair. Rocket is he's probably a few months out of his awkward noodle stage, because I mean his Rocket's awkward noodle stage lasted forever because so noodly.
Yeah, Apollo's big thing right now is that he's finally starting to grow into his face. So his teeth aren't sticking out of his mouth anymore. That was a thing for a while. Boy, let me tell you, that was an awkward couple of weeks.
Was he a little snaggletooth?
Oh yeah, just constantly. Whenever he bit anything, like whenever he had his mouth even slightly open, his teeth were hanging out, and it was just he was an awkward looking boy. It was an awkward time to be Apollo. You guys can see on the palette, I do have a little bit of pure black, and I haven't been using a lot of pure black on this model up to this point. I try to keep it to the very deepest of shadows. And what's going on here is I've got the combination of a very deep shadow and black undersuit underneath of that part of the mini. There is one other sort of black part, and that is this tubing that's on the front of the model that I'm still cleaning up a little bit. But and the grip here. So the grip on sorry, that's not the grip, that's the hilt. The hilt on the sword is also pure black. So just to give some contrast, because I felt like I wanted something that was pure black on the model. At any rate, we're continuing to go back and forth with our browns, our leathery tones. And I would talk more about like what exactly is going on with each one of these, but it's just one of those things. Like, this is a bunch of scratchy texture that I'm throwing onto the gloves, and there's not really a great way of describing what's going on other than I'm trying to balance the scratchy texture that we want all across the gloves with a general brown tone, keeping warmth in the scratchy parts, even though I am using fairly desaturated colors. And unifying it back with our base color again, like just coming back over and over with our base colors. I don't know, man. It's a pretty free-form process. I don't know if there's a better way of describing it than that, but that's what I'm gonna go with.
I want to make a comment about the mini. I really, really love his greatcoat lab hospital gown thing.
Hospital gown. We decided it was a hospital gown, or I decided it was a hospital gown. I think you tried to argue with me last time, but it's my mini, so I win.
That is fair. Yeah, I don't like painting fabric. It's kind of one of the reasons why I don't have a lot of guard, or painted guard, I should say. except for the one guy I painted, and he was just completely all camouflage, even his skin.
Neat.
But I was like, you know what? He's wearing a tank top. That's green. He's got his bandolier pouches. He's got his big frig-off catechin knife, because it was a catechin.
Of course it was. I would expect nothing less from you and your guard painting.
I love the catechins.
Sure enough, they're a bunch of Rambo looking dudes. They're pretty neat.
That is very true. Yeah, so I was kind of taking it off of a short story I read when they introduced a catechin special unit specifically for the Armageddon field of battle, which was the Armageddon Orc Hunters. They are literally catechins who to hunt and kill the orc, they must be the orc. So they famously use lots of looted orc shooters and choppas.
All right.
And generally, like, are giant muscle-bound guardsmen.
Well, they do like them big and muscly on basically everywhere in the guard, but especially the catechin guard happen to be particularly big, particularly muscly dudes.
Yeah, that's very true. Like they're an army based off of Rambo.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, the aesthetic is like somewhere between like Rambo First Blood and like Predator.
I was gonna actually go with Chuck Norris Braddock missing in action.
Oh yeah, no, that's also a pretty good choice.
But yeah, they're one of my favorite guard armies. I really dig their lore, especially like how they have a very specific lore. It's like a full page of lore about the like three variations on the catechin fighting knife.
Fair enough.
Because you know me, I like knives. I've got a few.
That is true, and of all of the people in my life, I know that you can reliably, or you can be relied upon to produce a knife when asked for. So
this is true.
Not in like a scary way, not in a like Adam's got a knife. It's more like, hey, yo, Adam, do you have a knife? And I'm pretty sure that the answer is going to be yes. So
yeah, and a lot of time, you know what I use my knife for?
Cleaning your nails.
Cleaning my nails and apples.
That's fair. I mean,
though actually, I do have a kitchen knife like wrapped up in like tape and stuff in my lunch kit, specifically for apples. But sometimes I get called off my breaks to go do other stuff because I have experience.
That's fair. That is fair. Yeah, thank you for the compliments on the cloak. Sorry, I just sort of like zoom past that stuff because I'm like, yeah, of course it's awesome because I'm good at this. There's still a little bit of rough blending that needs to be done in there, but like, I think it's like 85-90% of the way. I said a little bit in the intro that I also wanted to work on unifying light source and stuff like that. You guys can tell a little bit on the coat. There's a little bit of too much blue, just a little bit too much shadow on that side. There's a couple of other things I want to clean up too, just so that our light that is on here comes all the way across the model appropriately, and that we have like a coherent light source all the way across. But in the meantime, that's probably going to be later today when we work on some of that stuff as far as cleaning up light conditions and stuff like that, just unifying light source across all this. We might also do a little bit of work getting towards our parchment finish, because I'm not happy with where the parchment's at. I know it looks okay, but it's not done. Not yet, at least. Not according to my senses and sensibilities. So we're gonna keep working on that stuff.
I actually just disassembled. I thought I was gonna have to disassemble my entire Star Wars Black Series prototype Boba Fett helmet to get the piece off I wanted.
Yeah.
I did not.
Nice.
Yeah. My mate, because I did buy it directly from Hasbro. I bought it on a sale though, so it was not as expensive.
Fair enough.
But what I wanted was the flip down, light up rangefinder you can actually see through, and like the little screen on it lights up.
Oh, nice.
And that was the one thing I was really struggling with my cosplay, was that was something I was like, it doesn't, I don't want to paint something on the end of the range finder. Like, I want to be able to like flip it down and still kind of like be able to look through it and not be more blind than I already am wearing my helmet.
I was gonna say, it's not like Mando helmets are particularly like good visibility out of them, so
You get not bad like normal peripherals, but you got nothing really down.
huh. That would not have been my guess.
At least like on the helmet I'm actually using, which is for anyone who's watched the Clone Wars, it is a male Death Watch helmet. That's also the chest plates and guards and stuff that I have, just because I just happen to like the style. Now you see a lot of single piece chest plates, like from the Mandalorian,
Yeah.
where I do actually really enjoy that look. But for my first one, I'm gonna stick to, you know, the classic 3-piece
Looking
chest
like
piece.
sort of Boba Fett.
Yeah, just kind of more along the lines of like actual, or not actual Mandalorians, I should say, but like, you know, classic Mandalorian look, not the new stuff. Although I do really like the new stuff, and the Mandalorian is amazing, and I can't wait for season 3. And I hope the rumors I heard about Gina Carano coming back to reprise her role are true. And if not, that's okay. I just hope they just kill her off screen and don't recast the character.
Honestly, I have no idea what happened with Gina Carano. I know that she tweeted something and then Disney fired her. That was about as far into it as I got.
She tweeted something. I did read the tweet, and I was like, okay, it's kind of ridiculous because she's...
Oh, I remember what it is. Never mind. I don't want to talk about this.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm pretty stoked on this little piece, especially because like there's just a button on the side.
Yep.
And it flips down and lights up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet.
And I'm like the piece, like that whole, like all the electronics and everything, it's actually quite a bit thinner and everything than I was expecting to be. I was expecting to have like a good chunk, and now I need to start looking at interior stuff for my bucket as well. There's actually in one of the Mandalorian costuming groups I'm in on Facebook, someone dropped a super sweet little resource. It's a company that specifically makes visors for the Mando mercs.
Neat.
So you can get like all different kind of like colors and stuff. And because I'm going with like a dark polished iron or Beskar, so kind of like the Mando's armor, but like kind of darker, kind of closer to like maybe a polished cast iron look.
Okay.
I'm really struggling with the coloring. I should go for the visor. I might just go black, or like but there's also like blue, gold, red, like varying shades of.
Oh yeah, no, like I mean,
it's pretty cool.
Sabine's armor is ridiculous, but like I've seen plenty of people who have done like Ren Clan stuff. So
yeah, I am going clanless.
That's fair. There is lots of resources out there for people who want to do Ren Clan stuff because of how much play it got in Clone Wars. So
yeah, and then in Rebels.
Oh yeah, sorry. It was mostly no, it wasn't both because Sabine was yeah.
Sabine's not in Clone Wars, but Clan Ren is in Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And then Sabine is the lost Scion of Clan Ren. I did hear rumor that they are starting work on or getting close to finishing or getting close to like post-production for the Ahsoka show.
Really? I didn't think that they'd even started filming, but I could be wrong.
I might be remembering it. If
I know
anyone in
that
the
Obi-Wan
comments
was filming
or
a couple of
chat
weeks ago.
want to, knows. I just know that it's going to be, they're doing the Book of Boba Fett, which I'm pretty sure is on its way to being ready. It's supposed to come out like in the next few months. I think it comes out.
I thought
think in the
Obi-Wan was
fall.
next. Because Bad Batch is happening now. I don't know, man. I'm not
Batch is
up on
now.
Disney Plus. That's the biggest issue is that
Yeah.
not being on Disney Plus means that I just don't know half this stuff. Sorry, I am working off camera because I am a brilliant genius who has never once made a mistake in his life. That's not true at all. I was talking while you were muted there for a bit. I had a decent day, but I definitely had some stuff go kind of sideways on me because I'm a brilliant genius who's never made a mistake. So nothing like getting new features thrown at you that you automatically input onto the live server when you really, really shouldn't be. Boy, howdy, can I tell you how much you shouldn't be making things happen on the live server. This is a reminder to all you out there who work on network development systems. Don't do dev work on the live server, no matter how much the vendor says that it should be safe. Don't do it. It's bad. It's bad for you. It's bad for your client. Or it's bad for end clients. It's bad for everybody. Just don't do it. Never trust them. They're always lying. Anyway.
Yeah. Oh.
So yeah, I think it's Bad Batch right now, and then I thought it was Anakin or Obi-Wan was next.
No, Book of Boba Fett is going to be the next live action one.
Really?
And then it's going to be Ahsoka, and then Mando 3, and then I think it's Obi-Wan after that.
Huh. That is not
I
at all
think-
the way that I would assume that was going, since I think they're filming Obi-Wan right now. And Obi-Wan's the one that we've known about for the longest. I mean, they hadn't confirmed, I don't think, for a long time, but that was definitely the one that I have been most aware of for the longest time, but maybe I'm conflating it. There was also supposed to be an Obi-Wan movie, and maybe I'm conflating all of that into one thing now. Now that I think about it, that could be the truth. But I feel like I've known about an Obi-Wan movie or Obi-Wan the TV series for quite a while as well.
Okay, so here it is. Just released is the Bad Batch,
Yep.
the Vintage Collection, which is the Ewok Adventures.
Boo. Anyway,
Yeah, I like those movies.
they're awful.
I really enjoy them.
They are awful, and you
they're
are
very
awful
like
by
childhood
association.
nostalgic for me.
Fair enough. I never. That's not true. I watched them once as a kid
I
and was
just
like,
heard-
"This is bad."
I just heard Jamie yell "F you" from the kitchen. She
Yeah.
loves the Ewok movies.
That's fine, Jamie, and I'm not going to take that away from you, but they still rate a boo.
I mean, I really enjoy them. They touch a very special childlike place in my heart. But anyway, then there's also biomes and vehicle fly-throughs, which is kind of neat. Something called Visions, which I'm not.
Isn't that also cartoon
It's,
series?
yeah, it's 10 short films animated by renowned Japanese anime studios.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Then December 2021, The Book of Boba Fett.
Huh. Alright.
2022, The Mandalorian.
Okay.
2022, Andor. 2022, Obi-Wan Kenobi. 2023, Ahsoka. 2023, Rangers of the New Republic. To be determined, Lando. To be determined, The Acolytes. A Droid Story.
It wouldn't surprise me that if some of those to be determined have something to do with the Star Wars hotels that are going to be, well, the Star Wars hotel that's opening up in Florida in 2022, I believe the opening dates are. So, assuming that Florida hasn't just sunk into the ocean by that point in time, but seems like Disney wouldn't let that happen probably.
So just convert it to underwater Disneyland, Disney World. It'd be fine.
I'd be okay with that. Actually, my favorite rides when I was at Disney World as a kid were always the what was it called? There's a submarine one in Disneyland that was part of the Mermaid Lagoon when I was a kid, and then it became something else later. Maybe it's Finding Nemo.
I was there. It was also the Mermaid Lagoon still.
And then it's something else now, and it's not. I don't think it's Finding Nemo, or maybe it's just shut down. Period. It wouldn't surprise me if it was shut down. Like it honestly wouldn't. The diesel-powered submarines in like the middle of a theme park. It shocked me that they were open as long as they were.
Yeah, I remember wanting to go on them, but that day they weren't running, and then we just kind of weren't over at that area of the park any of the other times we were there. I think maybe I just turned 6. My brain was all over the place. I was at Disneyland for my 6th birthday. It was insane.
You want to know the first time I went to Disneyland? I was 14.
I think it would be actually so much fun as a teenager.
Yeah, it was weird. So my dad used to work overseas a bunch, and he came home from being overseas. It was just like, I need a vacation. We're going to go to California. I mean, it was a little bit longer than that. Like we knew before he left that when we came back, we were going on vacation. At any rate, and yeah, we went to Disney World, and like we did a lot of Southern California. That was my first time being in Southern California. Was that trip with my family, and yeah, I have since been to I think every Disney park. Oh, that's not true. I haven't been to Shanghai because it didn't exist when I lived in that part of the world. So that's a
Have you
thing.
been to Euro Disneyland?
Yeah,
Didn't it close?
no, Euro Disney's still going. It's actually got a better version, and I know that somebody someday will find this video and scoff loudly. The best version of the what's the roller coaster in the dark?
Space Mountain.
Space Mountain. The best version of Space Mountain is at Euro Disney.
I remember like being there in 6 and walking off and just seeing shelves lined with like Stormtrooper helmets, TIE Fighter helmets, Scout Trooper helmets. They had a couple Darth Vaders. They only had one lone Imperial Guard helmet all for sale. And I really, really wanted one, didn't get one.
Yeah,
I wanted a TIE Fighter helmet because they looked cooler.
because I went like as a teenager to Disneyland as opposed to as a child. Most of the stuff that I spent money on there was like gifts for other people who were like, "Hey, I hear you're going to Disney. Can you get me a whatever?" And I mean, I checked off. This is weird. As a teenager, I think I checked off all but one of the Disneylands that I've ever been to within like 3 years because of being in a marching band, and then like my later life was just more like travel-y stuff that I managed to clear off the other two, like Tokyo Disney, Disney Sea. Let's see what else.
It's Disney Sea.
Disney Sea is so you know how there's like California Adventure and Disneyland in Southern California. Disney Sea is that to Tokyo Disney. So Disney Sea is like it's still a part of Tokyo Harbor. But that is so yeah, that's Euro Disney. What else did I scratch off at that point in time? Those were the major ones, and then I separately been to Florida, and actually Florida I just took a day on a business trip and left. I was stuck in Tampa Bay and drove across state and went to Orlando. So
That's fair.
yep, and then let's see. Euro Disney was because I lived in Europe for years, so like it happened eventually. What am I missing? California was when I was a kid. regardless, I don't know. I think that Disneyland is a fun time. I'm excited for my brother to be able to take his nieces with him or take my nieces, his daughters, to Disneyland at some point in the nearest future. But I honestly, at this point in my life, I don't feel the like super need to go running back to them. I do kind of want to stay in the Star Wars hotel, but I'm totally willing to let that not be a thing until like 10 years from now.
Yeah, like I would really love to go to like Star Wars stuff. I can't remember what it's called now.
Galaxy's Edge.
Yes. It'd be really cool, but like it's gonna be a while.
Oh yeah, no, that's totally fair. Like I want to go, like the next time I go to a Disney park, it is going to be to stay. Have you heard about this hotel experience?
Briefly, I don't know much about it.
Oh, so you get to stay in a hotel and you join up as either part of the First Order or as a part of the Resistance when you get there, and it's a whole like interactive thing that happens over a matter of days. It's like $5,000 a week or something like that for a crew berth. Like it's ridiculous, but like it is like, I think it's a dozen adults or something like that, or a half dozen adults. I don't remember exactly, but it is really expensive. But the idea is that the entire time that you're there, it is like play acting in Star Wars. And I already know what some of the rides are like. I have unfortunately spoiled them for myself because I'm very interested in how rides actually work. So I've watched all sorts of documentaries and whatnot about how the new Rise of the Resistance and the Millennium Falcon one that I can't remember what it's called right now, where it's not entirely the Millennium Falcon, and somebody at some point in time will help me with this maybe, or they won't. But either way, there is a lot of rides that I want to do, and if I had a choice of like futuristic dystopias to live in, I would probably go with Star Wars, because like of all the dystopias, Star Wars is probably the greatest. At least then I could, like, I don't know, be a part of an intergalactic empire, probably. I mean, the likelihood is that I'd live in some form of empire. Even if they call it a republic, it's hardly going to be representational, so at any rate.
Yeah. On the plus side, my Mando rangefinder totally does actually light up.
Neat!
Now I'm trying to get it back apart.
You know what it's time for right now, though?
It is time for the news.
Newsy noises! Newsy noises. I know that it's playing a song right now, but I'm just going to talk all over top. That's not what I wanted. Oh, there we go. There we go. Woo! Y'all saw our notes. There they are. Okay, anyway. What have we got, Adam?
This first one is actually kind of a sum up of a lot of what kind of happened over. I guess not a sum up, but it's like
You need to hit it harder. I don't know what you're doing. I'm recommending fixing Xboxes, the early 2000s. Just hit it harder. It'll be fine.
Yeah. This is kind of just like a preview of their upcoming releases, and there is vampires in it, but you know what's awesome about these vampires? They aren't the stupid dragon ones.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, do you want me to talk a little bit about some of these models? Because I have thoughts.
I mean, I don't like that one.
Okay, but I'm going to talk for a minute, and then just let me know when I've talked too much. So we do have, you're right, the new vampires, their new Skelebro troops, the new Death Knights. That's not what they're actually called, but I don't care. The new Direwolves, cool. Our Radikar the Beast. So this is, we'll talk about all of these together. Yep. Radikar the Wolves and Radikar's Court, and then we get into Lady Anika, and yep. Okay, so that's it for the new vampires. Now, the parts of this that make me sad, disappointed, and insane are all of our Radikar stuff. Radikar the Wolf, Radikar's Court, Radikar the Beast, even Belladonna Volga, all of this stuff. This is clearly Cursed City stuff. These two kits in particular are just Cursed City extras, so they clearly got the molds for Cursed City for at least these vampires and dudes. They just aren't selling Cursed City anymore. So they've already started breaking up the pieces, so clearly something happened during production and they lost, I'm assuming, the hero molds, and that's why we're getting these already, because everything that happened with Cursed City, the way it was presented, the way that they told everybody that it was going to be a long-term printed thing, that it took over from Silver Tower and all the rest of it, clearly they broke one of the major molds or something like that, and they just can't make their money back. So we're already into selling everything off as, yeah, we're selling it all off piecemeal already, and that's just a giant pain in the butt. It's going to be hundreds and hundreds of dollars for what was, $200 or whatever it was for Cursed City if you could actually buy one. It makes me a little crazy that it's already going for sale like that. That's why we're also not seeing the stupid dragon vampires, and why we're seeing all of the awesome vampires is these were likely expansions for Cursed City. We know that Kritza, the Rat Prince, and we know that all of Radikar, Radikar was the big bad evil guy in the base game for Cursed City. So cool. Thanks a lot already, GW, for putting these sets out as opposed to flayed ones, but cool. It's just disappointing. Anyway, I'm mad at GW. They made Bony Boys.
But further down the post, actually, right under.
So we've got our AdMech stuff that's coming out. AdMech is our first non Space Marines into 9th edition, so that's cool. More of the Imperium going into 9th. That's neat.
There's a new Drukari character.
Yeah, and she was teased about 4 or 5 months ago, so it's nice that is finally going for pre-order next week. My favorite part of this is still the Eldar that is definitely dead on the ground underneath.
Yeah.
The Wraithbone with a dead Eldar.
Chronomancer and flayed ones.
Yeah, well, we're finally splitting up Pariah Nexus.
Yeah.
So we have both our Gravis Captain, our heavy infantry, or our Gravis infantry, so our Gravis Primaris infantry. And yeah, the flayed ones are finally, by the way, I looked it up. It's been 1 year and 6 days since they announced the flayed ones. They announced them before Indominus hit. So cool. Yeah. If anybody is wondering how far behind GW is on things, that's how far behind GW is on things.
At least.
Yeah.
I will say I love these flayed ones though. They look amazing, and I can't wait to see them.
Oh yeah,
in your house's paint scheme.
I'm super stoked to get them in my dynasty. Sort of a weird take on the Sotex, not quite actual Sotek dynasty, but yeah, at some point I'll throw them up because I love these models. I absolutely do, and I refuse to buy the resin ones because these ones were so much cooler. It's just a pain in the butt that it took 1 year to get here, man. But yeah, also heavy Marines and multi-pose kits, and our mastercrafted heavy bolt rifle captain. Also, more box sets because
combat patrols.
Yeah. The only difference with this combat patrol, so this is just the Vanguard. This is just our Vanguard patrol here one more time for GW with some Inceptors in it. But it's just a Vanguard patrol minus, I believe, the Phobos Librarian. And then, we've got some GWs getting rid of a whole bunch of old Necron kits. So we've got Immortals, and then we've got it's just 2 sets of Immortals, an Overlord, and then the Doom Scythe and the what are they called? Bicycles. They're not actually called bicycles, but I always think of them as bicycles. But they are getting rid of old kits for both of these. I'm hoping that they are under the $200 mark. Under $200 makes some pretty decent deals.
In the past, kits about this size, because they did have boxes. They were called the Battle Box.
Yeah, we're not quite to Battle Box size though.
I guess the battle box usually did have like a vehicle and then like some sort of heavy unit. Like the Space Marine one came with a Rhino and a Dreadnought.
Yeah, these are just. I have a feeling that these are just because there was the Vanguard Start Collecting kit, and so this is the Vanguard Start Collecting kit minus the Librarian and Phobos armor plus the what is it? That's
Ancestors.
no the tank.
Oh, I can't remember what the transporter's called.
Yeah, it's a multi, so you can also replace all of the turrets that are on top with actual anti-tank stuff, so it's not just a transport. But yeah, it's the levitating Rhino.
Yeah, that's essentially what it is.
Yeah, levitating Rhino times. But yeah, and then there's more stuff coming up from Black Library. What else have we got in the news, buddy?
The next one actually is the TT Combat new sci-fi gothic terrain.
Yeah,
I think I've sent you a link to this guy before.
yeah, man. I mean, if you were looking for a great way to fill up a table, it's £20. Like,
Yeah, that's like
everything on this
Canadian.
Yeah, everything. So I'll click on it just to show you, but everything in this set is £20. Hey, you can say what you want about laser cut MDF terrain for £20. I mean,
That is
could
sign
be
me up.
Yeah, it could be a whole lot worse for £20. Like it's what
Here's
40.
the example: Games Workshop. This amount of terrain would probably cost you about $200.
Yeah. I mean, it is different terrain. There is a different level of detail to it. But like, if you are filling up a game board and you don't have all of the money in the world to make it all out of GW terrain, I mean, like, this thing is 50 centimeters tall, like 49 or 490 millimeters. That is 10 inches. Like, neat. I mean, to get a bunch of cheap buildings down, pretty good deal. Just saying. It's a really good deal.
I saw them, so I was like, yeah, like I was like, okay, I was like, cool. I've looked at companies like this before. I was like, oh yeah, like they're super cheap, and then it's like, no, you're not. You lied. You lured me in with the promise of relatively all right quality product for a inexpensive price. And you're basically just selling me like a 3D print file for like almost GW box price. That's bad.
Yeah,
And I've checked out some of this guy. There's just rolled up the wrong menu, but he's got some pretty good stuff in here.
yeah. I mean, we're gonna talk about some of the other stuff here, I think, in the next news story, right?
That one.
Oops. Oh, we hit the wrong button. Oh my goodness. There we go.
Yeah, it is.
As it flashes all of the chirons for news here for a second, but
Yes. Yeah, it's same company. It seems like it's kind of a community of like different people doing it. But I like space battle games. I'm really glad Battlefleet Gothic came back. Yeah, it's for I don't even actually know the game. It's for Drop Fleet Commander, and you basically looks like there's at least 5 factions, possibly 6.
yeah, so Drop Fleet Commander is made by the same guys that make Beyond the Gates of Antares and Bushido and Warlord. It's Warlord.
It's Warlord.
At least I'm pretty sure that Drop Fleet is Warlord. But this is their naval combat game.
Yeah, I like how like just these few that it shows. Like I like how they look. I just went kind of further into it, and I'm looking at other ones. Yeah, like these. Not all of them. Like I kind of don't like the one that looks like fire. That one's weird.
I don't know, man. I think that they're all like cool. They're all very, very detailed models. You can go into the store. So their pre-order stuff, you can also print or they are also print and play files. So you can also download these and print them for yourselves. They're insanely detailed. And if these come out looking anything like this from the paint job that they're getting from factory, that's super cool.
I just zoomed in on the big white one, like just right in on like the gun. Why I can see cabling inside the ship behind the gun.
Yeah, as I said, it'll be neat to see what these actually come out like. I don't know if these are just model renderings or what's going on. It's a little hard to see. Some of the stuff definitely looks shopped, but I don't know. We'll see. Just there's a weird plane going on with focus. The focus plane is really strange in parts of this, so they might have just stitched together a couple photos to make sure it was all in focus. But regardless, you know, they are cool looking models.
Like for anyone who's a fan of like space combat tabletop games, there's not a lot of them.
Yeah, Drop Fleet Commander, X-Wing. There's a couple of others that I'm missing here. But yeah, Halo Fleet Battles is the other one because somebody bought the Halo license.
Battlefleet Gothic did come back briefly.
Yeah, Battlefleet Gothic sort of came back. I don't think it's actually in production, but I think that there was some sort of rumor mill about it, if I remember correctly. Maybe I'm wrong.
One of their upcoming box game ones.
Huh. I don't know. They're still sort of half doing Aeronauticus Imperialis. There we go. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm not super worried. GW's got 1,000 games and so many models and a lot of promises that they need to keep. So continue to watch me slowly become more and more jaded with Games Workshop as time goes by. Not that I don't like GW. They still have the best plastic in the game by a long shot. So
yep, they have
GW. If you
multi-part plastic kits out there, honestly, I think the only ones that come close were Warlord for second place.
Yeah, I think that there is lots of room as far as plastic kits still go. I know that we haven't touched them in a while, but Steamforged has apparently gotten a lot better with what is it, Godsend or whatever their one that's going on right now is. Yeah, I don't know. I have heard lots of other games have good plastic. What is it? Fantasy Flight, FFG, had actually pretty decent plastic for Legion too. So like, we'll see. Anyway, moving on with the news.
The last segment here is the from Mantic Games, the League of Infamy.
Yeah.
For those of you who like kind of tabletop-y freeform board games, like some of the Dungeons and Dragons ones, Steve, you've got most of them. I can't remember what they're called.
Oh, are you talking about like Descent and stuff?
Yeah, like Waterdeep and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about like what is it? It's not Cursed Mansion, something like that though.
I know which ones you're talking about. Essentially, this game sounds very similar to those. And Jamie, just if you're wondering, in this game you are playing the bad.
Yeah.
All the time. Always the baddies. That's actually, for those of you not in the know, that is a running joke in our D&D group.
It's a running joke everywhere. Are we the baddies? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, almost every situation any of our group is in. Are we the baddies? Yeah. Are we the worst guys? No, but we're not good guys.
We comfortably fit into that space between anti-heroes and outright villains.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not awful. At any rate, yeah, so board game, it's a Dungeon Delver board game where you get to play as the bad guys and you
Yeah, you get to play against other people. It was a Kickstarter. It's now going up for pre-order on Mantic's website. There's a whole bunch of minis and stuff involved in it. It is a 2 to 5 player game. It looks very much like a it looks very much like a more backstabby version of something like a Descent or like old school Hero Quest, that sort of stuff. So very much in those veins. There's way more about it if you head over to Mantic's site. It looks like fun. I'm going to be honest. I didn't do a whole bunch of research into it, but I do like the art style. I do like Mantic's minis. So I trust the team behind it. I would give it more of a close look if I hadn't been literally spending the entire day in and out of meetings and trying to correct the spelling and grammar of about 200 people simultaneously. So yeah,
that is fair.
Yeah,
You have a
we'll
I find most of these news articles on breaks at work.
That's totally fair. Yeah,
So I also don't get a chance to really give them a good read through. But
that's
some of them I do.
That's totally fair. It just so happened that today I didn't have a huge amount of time just because I was supposedly being trained during Google I/O at the same time as I was working on a client project at the same time as I was doing a database update for another giant client. So like, I'm stupid and had too many things scheduled today. I'm also very excited. We are into the final 12 hours of me being unvaccinated.
That's pretty sweet, dude. I have to wait till next Thursday.
So for those of you who don't know, in Alberta, we finally opened up so that people, what was it? It was 30 and under was 2 weeks ago or a week ago when that all opened up, that we could finally start registering for our vaccines.
From 91, if you're born at 91 or earlier, you could go. And now it's opened up to children, like anyone 12 and over now.
Yeah. So, but at any rate, when we were signing up, there was 44,000 people in front of me, and I was signed up within moments of the website being open for signing up. So it was one of those things that I am extremely happy to be going to go and get my vaccine so that we can hopefully stay healthy, not create another viral mutation, and continue to beat back SARS-CoV-2. That would be just super great.
Right. Like, I joke about this a lot. We'd all be out having fun. People could just stop going out and spitting in each other's mouths.
Right?
Just saying. Like, I know people aren't like, okay. I really hope people aren't actually doing that. That's really, really stupid, even not during a pandemic.
I kind of hope that there are people doing that. I'm not going to lie to you. Like people who know each other, not just like rando strangers spitting in each other's mouths. That's weird. But like,
yeah,
as long as you're consenting adults, I guess you do you. But also, that's weird. I'm going to judge you for it a little bit right now. So, but yeah, no, I'm excited that I am getting to the final hours of having my big stupid mouth be 100% unprotected from SARS-CoV-2, and we will, in very short order here, be able to celebrate. Well, I guess I got like 2 weeks or whatever before I'm actually immune, but like, I'm gonna pretend I'm immune. I'm just gonna run out of the vaccine center and like, I don't know, lick a telephone pole or something. That's the 5G speed.
Do not do that.
Why not?
That's
You
a
can't
good way
tell
to
me
get
what to
something
do.
that's not COVID.
You can't tell me what to do. You're not my real dad.
This is true. I'm not your real dad. If you want to go lick a telephone pole, you can.
Awesome.
You're not gonna like it though.
What are you saying? I'm not gonna like it. I don't understand this. Why wouldn't I like it?
Tastes good.
Listen, man, you seem to have forgotten. I don't know if you probably never knew me when I was in the like destructive teenage phase. So
No, I definitely did not.
okay. Listen, I was so desperate for people to like me that licking a telephone pole would by far not be the worst thing that has happened to my body's immune system. Maybe the worst thing that happened to my body's immune system in the last, like, I don't know, 10 years probably. I've been pretty nice to it for the last 10 years. Post 25, I've been pretty decent to myself.
I definitely, as a kid, used to regularly drink like mud puddles. So.
Oh yeah, no, mud puddles is my body would crave mud puddle water. That's not true. I'm being a little bit flippant right now, but like it's one of those things that I definitely did a series of really dumb things to myself as a teenager looking for acceptance in a world that was indifferent to my nerdiness. I don't know. Listen, I've always been a nerd. This is not a new development for me as I sit around painting tiny plastic figures with strangers on the internet. Love you guys.
We did have 3 people on Twitch watching at one point.
Ooh. Also, hello Twitch. This is very new for both of us. It's my first time. That's actually not true. I have streamed to Twitch before. It's always just been like practice stuff and not been public. So, be nice, Twitch. It's my first time in public. Or don't. I don't care. Like, what's the worst that the internet can do to me? Says the man who is immediately doxxed. What's the worst that could possibly happen? Oh god, this is the worst. Oh no.
So much.
It
The internet
hurts.
has proven to be I'm not gonna lie, it's bringing out the worst in everybody. Well, maybe not everybody, but the internet is just. I remember when the internet was new and like I could type stuff in Google and it just wouldn't be like porn, like weird porn.
I don't know, man. I don't know what you're looking up on Google, but like porn's like not generally a search result for me unless I'm specifically looking for porn. Maybe we use the internet for different things. Since, you know, the search algorithm is trying to guess what you are going to click on most likely. So, fun story about how all that works. It knows who you are and is trying to feed you the thing that it'll thinks you will actually click an ad for. So,
Well, let's go to Google and see what my search history is.
ooh, Are we
Transformers
playing-
King Grimlock comic release date. Tabletop gaming news. Alexander Skarsgård. Ninja Turtles 90s.
the
video
third
game.
hottest Skarsgård, by the way.
Skarsgård?
Alexander, third hottest Skarsgård.
Yeah, he's super hot.
He is super
But-
hot, but he is only third hottest out of all of the Skarsgårds. Just saying.
Doom novels.
Are you rereading the novelization of the video game Doom?
I have all 4 of them. I read them like 6 times.
Oh. Ooh, all right.
They're not good.
I wouldn't imagine that they would be. It's a novelization of the video game Doom. Like,
yeah, like they are the perfect cheesy sci-fi though.
are they? Or are they just bad sci-fi? Sorry, man. You recommended that I watch Supergirl, so I am forevermore going to marginally doubt your judgment on things.
You can do that with TV shows and movies. You can't doubt my judgment on sci-fi novels. That's like my entire book collection is mostly just sci-fi novels.
Fair enough. I probably shouldn't judge you on sci-fi novels.
I do love cheesy sci-fi a lot, but like there's definitely some I bought because the covers were cool. Then I'm like, I can't finish this book. It's just bad.
Yeah, I've
Um,
definitely done that with a lot of sci-fi.
I won't say the name of the book, but there's one that's basically a continuation off of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, but like in a very steampunk vein. It's bad.
That's
Very,
unfortunate.
very bad. I tried really hard in that book. I think I got about halfway through before I had to stop. I was like, I'm not enjoying it. I'm forcing myself to read this.
So I'm just waiting right now so you guys can see I'm doing a little bit of work, doing some highlighting work on our red over here on the chapter symbol, Legion symbol, on the side of our, or on our shoulder pad here. I'm just waiting right now. The paint's pretty wet, and it's had a lot of coats of very wet paint. And I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt that if you really want to mess up paint, just keep painting over wet paint. Just keep painting over paint that hasn't had a sufficient amount of time to cure. It's a really awful way of ruining a paint job and having to cry, silently weep to yourself in the corner as dozens of hours of work strip themselves from the model because they haven't sufficiently dried, or they're going from being very wet to very, very dry. We live in a desert, essentially, so acrylic paint, when it cures, shrinks, and acrylic paint, when it cures and shrinks in a desert, tends to do bad things to itself if you put too much wet paint over and over and over itself. At any rate,
Sure, could you not consider southern Alberta an arid wasteland or arid grassland?
Technically, yeah, we're not actually like traditional desert. I think we still get too much rainfall.
There
for
is
that.
like a traditional desert not very far from where you and I live.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Down by Lake Medicine Hat is actually a desert. So
yeah,
but technically, where you and I currently abode, where we live, this place, this silly place that we live in, not technically a desert.
Yeah.
Technically correct. The very best kind.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Canada encompasses almost every.
We don't have any tropical
found-
forests or any tropical rainforests, but we do have a subtropical rainforest, and actually one of the largest ones on Earth.
It's very true.
But yeah, we have a very weirdly diverse set of living circumstances. Everything from the largest tundra in the Western Hemisphere all the way through to the largest forest on Earth. I'm pretty sure that the boreal forest still counts.
Yeah, it does.
So
It's a whole section on planet Earth is about the boreal forest.
yeah, it's a weird place that we live in, but I wouldn't probably trade it for much. I don't know. I've traveled
Honestly,
a lot of the
We
world.
kind of divided it up by like the different climates we experience. Every province has different weather. Alberta's weather is
Yeah, southern Alberta's weather is very different than northern Alberta too, though.
yeah, that is very true. Like northern Alberta, like it is. They get a surprising amount of more rain than we do.
Well, it also snows and sticks, which is becoming more common in southern Alberta, but definitely wasn't a part of southern Alberta's weather when I was a kid. I remember going like maybe 10 days a year we actually had snow on the ground.
It's like
I'm
I grew
not
up
saying
in-
that climate change is false. Climate change is absolutely real, but it's just one of those things that like there is a difference to the amount of snow that we get and how long it actually like stays on the ground.
Yeah,
'Cause-
like Calgary. Oh, you know, we've got 2 feet of snow overnight in September, and it's gone 2 days later, like completely gone,
Oh yeah, like there would be the
and
week
it's 30
of
above.
yeah, there would be the week of 30 below in the middle or at the beginning of January every year, but like 2 weeks later it would be 15 above and all that snow would be gone. This year
Yep.
that didn't happen. Like it snowed fairly early in October and then basically didn't start snowing again until like late March. So other than like one big dump that was frozen to the ground for god most of the winter, like too
Yeah,
much
other
of the
than that,
winter.
we had like 2 weeks of like, hey, actual winter is here.
Yeah, but that snow never left. Like it snowed, as I said, I think it was early in, I don't know, man. It's all March the 400 and whatever. This year is just an extension of 2020 at any rate. But that being said, there was just, it snowed once really early in the year and then it just never went away, really. Like the snow didn't melt. It just stuck around on the ground, which is super uncommon for where we live. Normally it snows and then almost immediately after the snow is gone, it stops snowing. It goes back to being a few degrees above zero and we go back to just having brown grass for the rest of the winter. But this year, that was not the plan.
Like where I grew up, like I'm used to, like I never had I had very few non-white Halloween.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it would always snow, but it would disappear pretty soon after that.
Oh, like no, like in Pinoca, like it snowed and it stayed until March.
Oh, yeah. Whereas in
keep
Calgary,
getting more and more.
Yeah. And Edmonton and like basically from central Alberta north, like as soon as you get out of the like really heavy Chinook zones, that's pretty much the story.
Olds and up.
Yeah. But
I had no idea what a Chinook was until I moved to Calgary, and I was like, "What is going on?
Why is it
like
suddenly 5 above and all of the snow has melted?"
Yeah,
For those of you who want me to briefly speak in American, basically it would go from about 20 below Fahrenheit and dump 4 to 10 inches of snow, and then like a week later it would be 50. Not even a week later, sometimes within 24 hours, it would be 50 and all the snow would melt. And that was a fairly common occurrence. Like, it was pretty uncommon for us to have any accumulation of snow for most of the winter. So that's what we're talking about in American. And yes, I say American, it's not Imperial. You guys didn't have an empire really. Well, you did, but most of it was incorporated into America, or it was taken over by the CIA. I don't think we want to have that discussion. Sorry, not taken over by the CIA. The CIA crushed your guys' ability to... Never mind. You know what? We don't need to have this conversation. I don't need to slag the CIA on the internet. They get enough heat already, and they deserve plenty more. So you guys can see in these places where I'm doing a little bit of touch-up right now on the red on the ends of the collar or on the ends of the cuffs here. The peeling on the cuffs here, yes, partially it's because of my greasy gamer hands, but also this is what happens when acrylic paint dries too fast because of our climate. It very, very, very much peels away from corners and edges. The same thing was happening with the gloves. It's actually happening again. If we get right in on his knuckles, and you can see that right there, that knuckle is not... it's not white because I put a whole bunch of white paint on it, though I have put a whole bunch of off-white paint on it. It's actually peeling back to the primer that's on there. And it'll keep doing that. So it's just part of the wonder and joy of living in this part of the world. That's why we were talking about the weather for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's super weird. When I was first started... getting into painting, and I would watch people like Duncan Rhodes and stuff like that, guys in England, and they would, put paint straight on a palette and be able to use it for like several minutes to paint a mini. That is not an experience I've ever had. If you put paint on a palette in where we're from, and it's not a wet palette, you have approximately 5 minutes before it is hard. Like it is flashed off hard. So there's not a lot of time to get through the like delicate stages of painting when you are painting in the desert, essentially. Adam, I'm going to take a quick break. I think we should let's take a 10.
Yeah, I was actually just about to say we should take a break.
All right, cool.
Come back and explain to non-Albertans what a Chinook is.
Yeah, I feel like we should. Okay, so we're going to take a 10-minute break. You guys are going to have a little bit of a slideshow. If you would like to be included in the slideshow, I would love to have your guys' stuff in the slideshow. So you can send me stuff for the slideshow. You can DM me on Instagram. You can send it to our email address, just choiceminis@gmail.com. Of course, if you are watching right now and think we've earned it, you can give us a like, you can subscribe, you can follow on Twitch. It is our very first Twitch stream. If you want to catch up on how we got here in Project Neverfallen, you can head over to our YouTube channel for the VOD. It is youtube.com/a whole bunch of letters and numbers, but want to know what's an easier way to find us? Just look up Choice Minis. I'm Choice Minis everywhere on the internet, except for
on Twitch, where we're Choice Minis with a Z. Everywhere else, we're Choice Minis with an S. So we'll be back in about 10... Yeah, let's get 10 minutes. We'll be back in 10 minutes with more of Working Up Project Neverfallen. everybody, welcome back. I am Steve Thomas at Choice Minis on your social media platform of choice. We are back. We are working on our Dark Angel. We're working on our Dark Angel Judiciar. This is Project Never Fallen. This is Chapter 7 of Project Never Fallen. We are here working on our Primaris Judiciar for our little display base that we've got going on. Here's our little Fallen, who is definitely about to meet an untimely end at the hands of our little executioner boy here. So, for those of you who are joining us for the first time, as we are on Twitch, welcome. Love to meet and see new people on Twitch, of course. We've got more videos on these guys on our YouTube VODs. You can go and grab those if and when you'd like. Yeah. So we're just working our way around the model today. Mostly, I started off working on some leather, on the gloves mostly. But we've got other bits that we're going to continue to work on here right now, actually. We're going to get into some of this stuff. But, yeah, that's basically where we're at. Let's see. What can we talk about while I'm here by myself? Well, we can talk about...
I was muted that whole time.
Yeah, you definitely were. How's it going, buddy?
Good.
This is my better half, Beach Vacation Mando, Adam Grimm, beach_vacation_Mando on Instagram is where you can find his, how would you rate your Mandalorian cosplay? Slow. That's all right. Hey, man.
I'm getting more into it though. Like I've, because I only get so much free time. Most of my free time in the evenings, if I'm not on stream, is generally spent with my significant other. Because we get probably about 2.5, maybe 3 hours of actual awake time together during the week.
Ooh.
Yeah. I also go to bed at like 9:30, so and like 9:30 is like late for me.
That's fair.
I'm old.
I am also old, but I do get to stay up a little later. Actually, I've been staying up rather late the last couple of weeks. I am rewatching one of my favorite TV shows of all time. So it keeps
which one?
The West Wing.
I've never watched a lot of West Wing.
That's totally fair. I came from a very politically active family. They did not share any of the values of the Bartlett administration, but they still like the show. And I don't know. I picked it up when I was a kid, and by a kid I mean like, I'm sure I was like, let's see, it was 2001, so I was 15, 16 years old when that first came on the air. So, oh, maybe it was 99, 2000. So I would have been 13, 14 or whatever when it first came on. But it's one of the fondest memories I have of hanging out with my family is watching the West Wing together. So that's the thing.
I used to watch This Old House with my dad.
Oh yeah, no, my dad's entire family's
the show I was on right before it.
Woodwright Shop, or are you talking about the New Yankee Workshop?
New Yankee Workshop.
Yeah. Norm Abrams and the New Yankee Workshop taught me everything that I need to know about safety and safety glasses. You should always wear them.
Yeah.
Of course, your most important piece of protective equipment, these safety glasses. When I was a kid, I always thought he was talking specifically about the safety glasses that he was wearing, and I was like, how do I get those? Turns out he's just talking about safety glasses in general, because having bits of wood fly into your eyes is bad.
Mm-hmm.
This just in. Flying pieces of wood to the eye.
That, but having been hit by flying chunks of wood before? Yes.
I have definitely been hit in the face with many bits of wood. Even in my like adult life where I should know better. Even like last summer working on the deck and stuff, I have been hit in the face with too many bits of wood, and immediately afterwards heard Norm's lecture, his continuous lectures on the New Yankee Workshop about how I should be wearing safety glasses at that moment, and I'm like, I failed you, Norm. I failed you, Mr. Abrams. I am sorry.
I made him proud today. A fun thing about our part of southern Alberta is when it gets windy, it's not just like a breeze.
No.
It gets when it's windy here, it means business. Take today for example. I think the wind gusts clocked in at like 115 kilometers per hour. I could physically feel small rocks and grit hitting my hood. And I will tell you this, the goggles,
They do not sing.
they didn't do anything. Like, I was like, you know where you get like the sleep goopies
Yeah.
and crusties? That was just black.
Oh yeah.
Like,
No.
I can still taste a faint bit of like dirt and rock dust.
Yeah, and
The
today
vintage
is
cedar from all the mulch.
today is a particularly bad day, just as far as because it hasn't rained essentially since it snowed last, which I feel like we're coming up on a month now. That's not true. It rained a couple of weeks ago.
I
Yeah.
worked in that. It was all right. It was cold.
Yeah, it's just it's particularly gritty right now because it's coming in off the prairies too. So that whole prairie dust storm thing is very much an actual thing here.
Hmm.
I mean, we may not be Kansas, but we might as well be.
So what we were talking about before, we need to explain Chinook winds to people not from Alberta.
Oh yeah.
So also, like, even people in other parts of Canada don't really know unless they've been here and once happened. I mean, I lived in Alberta for 18 years before I even heard of a Chinook or experienced one, just because I lived in a different part of the province and it was never a thing.
Yeah, so what a Chinook is we live maybe, what would you say, about 100, 125 kilometers from the Rocky Mountains, right?
Yeah, I'd say about that. It's not super far. Like, what, Kamloops, or not Kamloops,
Canmore?
Canmore is like, what, 45 minutes maybe?
Yeah. So, somewhere between 85 and 120 kilometers, let's say. So that is somewhere between like 60 to 100 miles from the mountains. And because of that, and because the mountains are very, very tall, and on the far side of those mountains is the Pacific Ocean and Vancouver and all the rest of it. So whenever bad weather hits Vancouver, it gets pushed up over top of the mountains. And over those giant, beautiful Rocky Mountains, Banff, Lake Louise, that sort of stuff, it drops literally all the moisture out of the air. So the moisture that would normally like end up hitting, if it were a flat prairie in between, we would get a lot of that moisture. But instead, the clouds get forced up over the top of the Rocky Mountains. They drop all their moisture. And on the far side, we just get the remainder. And the remainder is hot, it is dry, and it is windy as heck. Like, it is so windy that we live in the middle of like coal and oil country, and we still have wind generation farms because that's how windy it be up here. And like, not little bits, like the size of offshore wind farms in like the North Atlantic. Like, if you were thinking of how windy is it, it is windy enough that we have almost as much a wind generation as Ireland does. Not something that gets around a whole lot, but
We do have those things. I've seen them. They're huge. They make a really weird whirring noise.
yeah.
That's like the only way I can describe it. Like
But there are parts of our province that are windy like 200 days a year. And by windy, I mean winds greater than 60 kilometers an hour. Sustained greater than 60 kilometers an hour. About sustained over 60 kilometers an hour. I don't know. It's probably about 100 days a year that it is that way. That is down around Lethbridge for those of you who are actually in our province and are wondering, like, where does that happen? Yeah, it's down around Lethbridge, and we now everybody who lives in this province is like, oh yeah, no, that totally makes that reads. At any rate, those hot, dry winds, they can show up anytime, 360 days a year. So
they might show up in summer, and the weather outside will go from being like a nice, calm 25 above or so and go to 40, like 40 Celsius. So it'll go from being, in the mid 80s to being 130 degrees in 24 hours, like in less than 24 hours. They can do it in like 10 minutes, but
Yeah, I've been outside in the winter and felt a 47-degree weather shift.
yeah, in a
And,
shift, like in a day.
And like it was literally within a single snow removal shift. It was probably honestly like 5, maybe 6 hours.
Yeah, and that is common. It is not like oh my god, this is weird. It happens multiple times per season. Like this weekend, even yesterday, it was 30 Celsius outside. So it went from being, our regular temperature around this time of the year is like 15 to 20 degrees Celsius. It went up to being 30 this weekend. Like it was 27 to 30 degrees this weekend. And it was windy. And then today's north winds, and it is down to 16 or so, 15, 16 today. It wasn't particularly warm outside. But
It wasn't warm, and then it got windy, and then it was really not warm.
oh yeah, because we are also fully subjected to the whims of whatever happens in the north of the world, because that is our other major weather pattern here in Alberta is whatever is happening in the Arctic happens in our entire province, because there is literally nothing that bars Arctic winds from flowing just straight down the pipe to all of our lovely citizens. And it doesn't get
It is
warmed up
currently
literally at
7
all.
degrees out.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things that I'm also wearing shorts because I'm Canadian and it is shorts weather because May, even though we are prior to the May long weekend and I am an Albertan, should know better, I have been wearing shorts the last week.
Yeah, for those who don't get that joke, everyone goes camping on May long weekend knowing full well it's going to snow at least 6 inches
Yeah,
in one night.
yeah. Oh, if it's not on Friday night, it's definitely going to do it on Saturday, and then it'll do it again on Sunday.
Yeah, and then right as you're packing up to leave, nothing but blue skies and warm weather.
For the next 2 weeks while you're sitting in the office or, doing your day job. Because that's Alberta's weather for you. It always surprises me. Like I go, I travel fairly frequently to other parts of our country. Well, when it's not, a global pandemic. And one of the weather patterns that I got described to me that surprised me probably the most that I've heard so far is something called the Alberta Clipper, and this is Manitoba and Ontario will know what I'm talking about. But there is apparently some sort of weather system where it blows in from the west and is extremely cold. And they call it the Alberta Clipper. And I stared, the first time that somebody told me this, I was like, at home that this comes across like this. In Alberta, this weather system means it's like 10 above it there, right? Like, I don't know why you think that Alberta is to blame for this. It's the giant frozen middle of our country that is causing this particular weather pattern to be so weird. Nothing to do with Alberta. It's a Chinook in Alberta. When you guys are experiencing like 30 below and being like, oh god, Alberta's weather must suck, we're wearing shorts because, as one does when it's nice and warm in the winter.
I can say full well, I have been comfortable outside in December in Calgary in my short shorts.
Oh yeah, I remember one Christmas Day as a kid that we all sat around in t-shirts and shorts. Like it was Christmas Day, December 25th, and it was at least 10 above. 10 above 0 Celsius. So in American units, that's like, I don't know, 40, 45.
And we say American units basically because they're the only ones who still use it.
Oh, come on. I do like the joke of there are people who use the metric units, and then there are those who landed on the moon.
Yeah.
to be fair, China doesn't use American units and is soft landed stuff on the moon as well. So have the Russians, but I guess there's only one set of one nationality that has landed humans on the moon so far, and it looks like they're going back. Like, I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with what SpaceX is doing. I'm a huge space nerd. I guess I should, like, real life space nerd. My dogs are named after the moon missions, so, well, and what the moon missions should have been named after. I named my dog Artemis before they had announced that the Artemis program was a go-ahead. SLS had been in development for forever, but they hadn't actually announced that Artemis was going to be the name of the next set of moon missions yet. So, yeah, Artemis and Apollo. Obviously, Apollo, the infamous program that landed the first human beings on the surface of the moon. So, also Greek gods, and also a giant nerd about Greek mythology. So there you go. If you're wondering what to get me for my birthday, it's nothing. But if you insist on getting me something, space and Greek mythology are cool. But also nothing.
I'm actually reading. I mean, it's a fictional novelization of like a warrior growing up in ancient Greece, but it's quite good. I enjoy it. It's called The Killer of Men.
Neat.
It's pretty good. Guy became an awesome warrior. All he wanted to be was a blacksmith.
Sounds fair. There weren't a lot of blacksmiths in actual ancient Greece.
Bronzesmith, I should say.
There you go. Because we hadn't invented iron
he
yet.
Does like Legos.
Oh yeah, I do also like Legos. I haven't been as into Legos in the last couple of years for my birthday. Not that I don't love Lego. It's just hasn't been a thing. I don't know if there hasn't been. I don't want to spend $5,000 on the coolest Millennium Falcon, so it's just I haven't done a lot of Legos for the last couple of years, and it's not actually that much, but it is something ridiculous. So, or was
like
I don't even
$3,000.
I don't even know.
It's a 2-scale Millennium Falcon made to scale for the Lego minifigs, so it's actually the right size ship for Lego minifigures to be the Falcon.
Fair enough.
Which is awesome and super nerdy, and that's why I love it and why I want it, but I could never own it.
Oh yeah, no, the ones that I want there's the ISS, the International Space Station. Excuse me. Also, hey V. No, there's ISS, the LEM, the Apollo 11 moon lander. I believe it is the Apollo. No, you can configure it multiple ways. So, but it is the Apollo 11 lunar exertion module and the Saturn V rocket. All also have Lego sets that are pretty neat. They're pretty nifty. Those are ones that I would get if I were to get any of them. But even then, I'm not super. I don't need them. I'm okay without them. As you can tell, I'm doing a little bit of highlighting on our warrant here, so I'm gonna dirty it up one more time here before we're done with this. But I wanted to get just a little bit more highlighting done on the actual warrant itself before we got it all nastied up one last time here. I'm gonna do the same with our little bit of parchment over on this side. Just I knocked these all with Vallejo smoke. Sorry, I should actually do this on stream. I hit them all with Vallejo smoke, which is it's sort of a wash, but not really from Vallejo. And then because it is a wash, I just gave it an all over wash kind of a deal. So the colors all settle in stupid places because it's a wash, and as much as you can pretend that it's going to go to the right place, that never really does, especially when you're not using zenithal highlighting and that sort of stuff. Like we've got a very particular direction that our light is coming in, so it doesn't work as well as, say, just lighting from above. At any rate, we have to clean up some of this stuff, just pushing color into the right spots so that it actually looks like it's supposed to, and then we'll go back with a more selective application of smoke, just so that we bring some of those brownish sepia tones back into the model itself, like back into the into the parchment so that we get the look of really gungy old parchment, because even though these are apparently prepared literally the second that these guys are going into combat in some cases, they still apparently look dirty, because most of the Warhammer art I've ever seen for purity seals and stuff, and they've all looked really old. I don't know, maybe you can shed some light on that, Adam, because that never made sense to me. Because
Some can be and some can be new. Like, it can depend on like the chapter and faction, because not all Space Marines use purity seals. Space Wolves don't. They use wolf totems because they're space Viking werewolves.
not all of them are werewolves, but yeah, you're
Yeah.
correct.
They all do have canine senses and such about them.
Oh yeah, and any of them can develop into a wolfen, which is the like werewolfy part of it. So they all have
They're
the
one of-
ability to be that.
Um,
Just not all of them are that.
They are one of three, what the Emperor considered his three monstrous legions.
I'm gonna go with Blood Angels being the other one.
Yep.
And probably did he say that? Well, I guess he would have had to say that during the Heresy or before the Heresy. So probably Night Lords?
Salamanders.
Really?
They are larger than every other Space Marine. They are
But friendly.
obsidian black and have glowing red.
But they're friendly.
I know.
Salamanders
They're the big
are our
friendly giants.
friends.
Yeah, we're talking about like the only Space Marine chapter and Legion that even after induction into the Salamanders, you could still live at home with your family.
Salamanders are our friends, not food.
Right?
No, that makes sense. I mean, Big E was a bad dad, so like makes sense that he would call them monsters because, you know, they're not just outright psychopathic killers. Remember, he is the guy who promoted Horus. So like
Yeah.
And like
I mean, as much as
indirectly
I hate to say it, Girlyman would have made a better War Master.
no, not Angron, not Petrabo. Definitely not Conrad Curse. He
yeah, not hers.
He didn't even want to be the leader of his own chapter. So like
Yeah, that guy had issues. That guy's issues had issues.
he had grand
Did you take over your
issues.
planet? Yes. How? I became the best serial killer ever. What?
What? And then
I said my victims were criminals. I was also a vigilante.
it's fine. I was a serial killer who killed serial killers. What? Yeah, we based our entire system of justice around who I decided was guilty, and then I would kill them.
Yep. And it didn't matter who they were. Because the scales of justice don't care.
Oh man.
He could also see into the future too. He had
Yeah.
visions and stuff. He saw his own death, like when he met the Emperor.
Yep. He also saw the Emperor's death, probably.
Yeah, he actually, in that moment, begged the Emperor not to take him. He's like, if you take me, we're both gonna die. And the Emperor's like, that's not gonna happen.
Because the Emperor's a bad dude.
The Emperor's he's an a-hole.
I wasn't gonna go quite there, but if we are gonna PG-13 our stream, do we want to use the F-bomb now?
Yes.
He's a fucking awful father. Just the fucking worst. I used it twice. And we're gonna get taken off of YouTube. Demonetized.
Yeah, he is. The Emperor is not a cool dude in any way, shape, or form ever.
I mean, he occasionally does cool things, but that doesn't make him a good dad.
I'm not totally opposed to the Imperial truth.
Well, What's the Imperial Truth?
Science and reason
Oh,
over superstition and religion.
I got no problem with religion if it brings people comfort. Not super in favor of being converted to religion, but I'm also not going to take that away from people. I don't know. As long as you aren't trying to convert me or do stupid things in the name of your gods or beliefs, I really don't care what you do. But that's fair. I mean, that seems like something that would come out of like Thatchery England at the time.
On that note, Steve,
Ooh.
time for some hits on 2+.
It's on 2+. All right, brother, what have you got for me?
Actually, since we started streaming, I've been watching this guy's videos.
And by this guy, you mean Pete the Wargamer?
I do meet Pete the Wargamer.
Oh, I love Pete the Wargamer. Pete, if you ever see this, I really like you. You're a very good man.
I also really like your stuff. I apologize for taking so long to subscribe to your channel and just watching your videos over and over again. I have now subscribed, but the one we're focusing on actually is the kit bashing Primaris Warhounds.
Yeah, man.
Those who don't know, the Warhounds are what became the world leaders. Their whole thing was we weren't collared before and we won't be collared now. Basically referring as they were the Emperor's attack dogs. Like they are credited, they were one of they did serve in the final closing years of the Unification Wars, like the Dark Angels. And they'd kind of taken the role, like the very shock troopy role that would have before been relegated to mass formations of Thunder Warriors. They were always brutally savage, and then yeah. But anyway, let's go to look. It's like he's just doing a kit bash and a conversion. At the very end of the video is his paint job, and it's really really good. But it's such a quick, easy, and simple kit bash. Like
Yeah. I mean,
like the length of he pretty much does the entire thing in the 10-minute video.
yeah, if you want an opposite of Begsy, who we talked to him or we showed his stuff a couple of weeks ago, where it is like a 4-hour meditation on painting and converting a single model, Pete's the opposite. Pete got through this conversion in like 8 minutes. He's like, chop here, do this, paint, good. I mean, he doesn't do the paint job in this one, obviously, but he does show the conversion, so you guys can go through, watch his videos. And he's got just a ton of really, really great videos. I can't say it enough. I do, Pete, if you ever see this, I really do enjoy watching your videos, seeing how you go through the process. Just the putting things together aspects of it are incredible. And yeah, I can't say enough. If you want to support him, please do go give him a like and subscribe on YouTube. You can find a link for his stuff in the description. He's got a Patreon and all the rest of it, so please go over, give him some love, watch the Primaris Hounds, and as I showed, he has got just a ton of really great videos all the way through. Everything from, you know, how to paint rust, all the rest of it. But yeah, that is
he has one actually on making your own studded armor pieces.
Yeah, and
which I'm interested in because I really dig the aesthetic of the studded Space Marine armor, especially the shoulder pads. I don't like the current studded shoulder pad option. The studs don't make sense.
Totally fair. But yeah, you guys can go through. He's got tons of videos. It goes on forever. If I remember correctly, he used to do stuff with what's it called? Not Spiky Bits, the other one. Mini Wargaming?
Okay, yep.
But yeah, just it goes on forever. and they are great videos. He is an amazing video producer, and I love his models. So yeah, if you get a chance, go visit Pete the Wargamer. For my hits on 2+, and I'll just swap it over real quick here. Oh, as I click the wrong button. There we go. Yeah, we'll bring mine up here so that it actually spins and does the things. I also did a YouTuber / Instagram guy. This is Jose. I'm gonna forget his entire name, but it's Jose Da Vinci. Jose David Giraldes. He's a Spanish language painter on the internet. Another one of the like mind-blowing cohort of Spanish mini painters that I didn't know existed before YouTube. Really? It started off with, I mean, I knew Angel from like Infinity and the Masterclass books and all the rest of it. Like I've known him forever, but like expanding into what the rest of them are doing over there is just utter insanity. You can see here, I just chose one of the posts. This is one of the new, well, not new, but this was from the second edition of Blood Bowl. There was obviously our new Imperial, or sorry, not new Imperial, new Bretonnian guys, new Free Cities guys. But yeah, he's just doing some non-metallic silver on there, and definitely makes it look easy. But he's got a whole YouTube channel. You can look him up on YouTube. It's Jose Da Vinci on YouTube. Yeah, they are Spanish language, but he puts it all into English subtitles. And really, if you watch enough Spanish painting videos, pintura and, you know, all the rest of it, sombra and all the rest of it starts to make more and more sense. So I am slowly learning Spanish, only relating to the hobby of miniature painting, thanks to my obsession with watching Spanish language videos on YouTube. So yeah. That's my hits on 2+. If you guys want to vote for your winner this week, you can go down in the comments, or you can put it in chat right now. And yeah, we would love to hear what you guys think is the coolest between the two that we showed you. Again, go follow Pete the Wargamer or Jose Da Vinci 88 on Instagram, and Jose Da Vinci on YouTube. His YouTube links just in his description. If you would like to be featured in Hits on 2+, we do actually reach out to all of the artists before we feature them. But if you would like your stuff featured on Hits on 2+, we would love to have you. You can submit your artwork, your whatever it is. You can either send it to me at choiceminis@gmail.com, or you can always, you know, DM me if you're on Instagram. It's just at choiceminis. I love talking to other mini painters on Instagram. I found a guy last night from Quebec, and we chatted for like 25-30 minutes about how I can no longer speak French. Oh boy. At any rate, yeah, that's my hits on 2+. What do you think, Adam? You gonna go watch some Spanish language painting videos on YouTube now?
Yep, probably.
His stuff is actually like, it's pretty premium. I gotta say, for all the times that I paint stuff not holding it anywhere near the camera and all the rest of it, there are people out there who are actual professionals at this. Oh, and Streamlabs is frozen, but it's fine. We're still streaming. I do love that Streamlabs just sometimes it just gives up. So we're continuing to work through our I'm actually working on our purity seals right now. So I did a little bit of base coating on our few remaining skulls, just trying to get nice solid base coats. This is Mojave White that I'm using right now. So if anybody wants to follow along or is wondering about the colors that I'm using, I got Mojave White on the brush. I'm continuing to clean up the purity seals here. So knowing again that our light source is basically on the horizon coming from this direction. It's actually a little bit up and from this direction. So I'm using basically off whites. Our highlight color, so our universal highlight color on this model is white sands, scale 75 white sand. And I'm actually just mixing this into our deep red, which is the color that I'm using both to base coat a lot of the heraldry for our excuse me, for our Dark Angel here, but I'm also using it for Purity Seal Wax because
I don't feel like doing pink. I know that there's supposed to be pink purity seals, and I get that, but this is my Imperium, and in my Imperium we use deep purplish reds for our purity seals instead. Also, by adding the like off-white to it, I'm obviously using a pink anyway. So white sands plus deep purplish red equals pink. Like that's some pretty basic color theory. I know I don't have the palette cam up, guys. I did a massive update to my phone today because I needed to. I'll probably put the palette cam back up here in a couple of minutes. It was running real short on battery, and I don't have a charging cable at that particular part of my desk right now because I'm bad at this. So yeah, just continuing. I'm now coming in. So our universal shadow color on this guy is a combination of anthracite, gray, and abyssal blue and black. So it is a mixture. I want to say it's like 2 parts anthracite gray, 1 part abyssal blue, 1 part black. Just we're looking for real cool tones in our shadows, so that's how we came to that color. But yeah. The other part that I'm going to do right now while I'm at it is you can see the heraldry on his knee for the for the Deathwing. So we are going to be picking some of that out and mixing it back in. Just we lost a little bit of while I was doing some shadow work the other day. So again, just picking this stuff out really carefully. I'm not using a particularly small brush. A lot of people want to go in and when they're doing freehand using, like, I'm just not a believer. I see plenty of people trying to use, 000 brushes and stuff like that on freehand. And I don't know. I have a relative amount of success using my good old number 1 here. So I'm going to keep going with it until I am actually good enough at freehand, I guess, to need. No, that's not true. Part of what I see as the problem with people using very tiny brushes, and when I say very tiny, I mean like anything past 0 in my mind is too small to actually use. And this is particularly in my climate. I don't know. The rest of the world works differently. And we've talked an awful lot about weather today. I don't know how to feel about that. At any rate, part of
we did talk about the weather a lot.
Yeah, we did. Part of why I don't like very small brushes is that they don't have the ability to carry either enough moisture with them or enough paint with them to stay viable for very long. Like, I've been away from the palette now for, a good 30 seconds or so, and I still have viable paint on the brush. Now, obviously, I'm using a very thin amount of paint because I'm, but it's one of those things that when you start using very, very, very small brushes, it's really hard to keep the belly of the brush full of water and still have a controllable amount of paint on the tip of the brush and have that tip be fine and all the rest of it. So while it may feel easier because you've got a really, really small brush that you can very clearly see the tip on, I have always had issues keeping paint viable on those brushes for long enough for it to be useful and workable. Not to say that you can't, however you get paint on your model, there's no wrong way to do it. So, like, take what I say with the world's largest grain of salt. But, like, I find that I found through my, like, learning process that I had more success painting freehand and painting period when I started using larger brushes. Just period. Using big brushes for me was sort of the breakthrough moment where it went from being everything is very hard to learning how to not just like control the brush, but also knowing where I could sort of cheat and where I could come back and redo elements so that I could clean them up. And I know that is very intimidating to hear as a new painter. I get it, but there is there's no real like silver bullet or magic in using those tiny brushes. At least I don't feel that there is. Adam, I know you tend to use way smaller brushes than I do.
Yeah, I do. Mostly for faces. Especially my eye work.
Yeah, it's like this guy, his entire face was painted with a number 2. It's not the greatest face I've ever painted, but like also he's not done. But like all the like wrinkles on his forehead and stuff, all that was done with just a big old number 2 brush because I can do it. I don't know. Again, I'm not trying to take anything away from you. I'm not trying to put you on a spot or anything, man. I don't know. That's how I paint. Everything is like
I don't use small brushes very often. I do prefer the number 2 over, unless like that's pretty much the only brush I use unless I'm doing a vehicle or dry brushing. And even then, my dry brush is just my really old number 2.
fair enough.
Because the GW actual dry brush brushes suck, and I found that just a really beat up old, mistreated orange tip number 2 works totally fine.
totally fair. I just realized that I'm painting eyes off cam. So, but this is just a number 1. Dot and smize because I don't know. I'm showing off, I guess. I don't know. He's got red glowy eyes because I figured that was a good way of signifying taint. I don't know. Like, I didn't have a better way of doing it. He's got like weird crusty skin and all the rest of it. So I decided that some red glowing eyes were a pretty good indicator. Having the like oldest Legion symbol I could possibly give him was also a pretty good like indicator that not everything is okay with this guy. I don't know.
That's right. Like I have gotten out of the like using my really small brushes since I did get a better quality number 2.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and got some like brush conditioner.
Yeah, if there is like, okay, so there are 2 like major inflection points in my painting. One, ditch Citadel brushes. I was going through what was it? Citadel medium layer brush like once a month. Maybe even faster than that. Now, granted, I was painting like 3 or 4 minis in that month. Like, I was pretty prolific, but like still, I was going through like a brush a month at minimum. Citadel brushes are bad. Just don't buy them. Buy them as garbage brushes. I don't know. I'm interested because the STC brushes go on sale this weekend, or they're up for pre-order this weekend, so I might actually buy a set of those just to review them. But
and like I said, the Citadel, I call it the orange tip because when I started it was the orange tip. It is now the medium layer brush. It makes a really good dry brush, which is not what you're supposed to use it for. It just happens that that's pretty much what you get for a $6 brush.
yeah, I use Winsor & Newton's. You can see it's a Winsor & Newton number 1 if it ever comes into focus. There we go. Winsor & Newton Series 7 number 1. The only other brushes I actually have on the table is Winsor & Newton Series 2 or number 2 Series 7. And then I've got just my crappy mixing brush, which is a number 1 that the tip has died on. So I think I mixed it in PVA or something like that, like accidentally. So it's toast. At any rate, that's all I use for brushes. Like I've got 2. I have a dry makeup brush that I use for dry brushing and stuff like that, and applying pigments and stuff like that. But otherwise, I don't know. I just cycle through the number 1s and 2s from Winsor & Newton. But there's lots of choices out there. There's Raphael, Rosemary & Co. There's, not Michael's, not Hobby Lobby, not any of those. Go to an actual art store, ask them for a Kolinsky sable brush. Look for something that has, there's lots of options here. Like, I just happen to work with the Series 7 ones a lot. I like the brush shape. I like how much barrel there is. I happen to like the length and spring of the actual bristles. not everybody's the same. There are guys out there who love Rosemary and Co. There are people out there who love, every other brand. That was a huge inflection point in my painting, was actually spending money on brushes, because I can control this. I've got Citadel brushes that I can show you somewhere here they're in the other room. I have actual Citadel brushes around that they got used as brushes, I guess. They're just... Wow, my phone is dead. At any rate, they were fine for when I was first learning, but the problem with trying to learn with those Citadel brushes is that the tips... wow. Hey, look, you can see the rest of my setup. This is what it looks like when I'm painting in the bottom corner there. There you go. Look, that's the rest of the setup. There it is. So for those of you who want to know what the setup looks like, this is the setup. At any rate, my phone's about to die, so I'm going to turn off everything.
Yeah, like I know what you're getting at with the Citadel tips. They are very hard to maintain. And they are little garbage.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're total garbage. They're just not great. They will break down fairly rapidly, and it's hard to control your paint when you're doing that. Like, it is rightly or wrongly, it is very hard to achieve the things that even Citadel themselves, like even GW themselves, say that you should be doing. If you're going to try and learn how to what do they call it? Edge highlight something. Trying to edge highlight something with Citadel's brushes, good luck. Like, I never figured it out. So when I finally started using good quality brushes, I could finally control the brush tip enough that I started learning how to actually paint. The other thing was learning how to load a brush properly, and I just turned off the palette cam. Otherwise, I would talk a little bit more about that with the I'll put it underneath the bag. Lots of people are going to give the same advice over and over and over again. They're going to say, go into your paint and smush it all into the bristles and then roll it around until it comes to a point. So you guys can see that my paints here are all drying out. Welcome to Alberta. So they're going to say, put a bunch of paint on the tip of your brush and then roll it around until it's a nice fine tip on it. And then, the Peachy or Duncan to say like, look at how nice the tip on that is and see how I can draw nice, tiny lines with it. And that's cool when you can go through 3,000 Citadel brushes in a painting session and, find the one that's actually nice and, 20 minutes later when it's junk, throw it out and get a new one from the pile. But that's not how I would recommend doing it. Loading a brush is really easy. Take a tiny amount of paint. Tiny amount of paint. All I'm using is the very tips of the ends of the bristles. Load that onto the brush. All I did was just make sure that it wasn't sitting in a glob on the end of the brush. Hang on, let's actually get this in focus. You gonna focus? There we go. You can see how little paint is actually on the end of that brush. And that is going to last me, if I wanted to, like, let's say I'm going to take this to the model. I'm going to get I am standing around talking like an idiot for like 5 seconds before I even brought this to the model. But I can bring this across most of the model and then go back to reload. And part of that is the wet palette. Part of it is just technique, but you don't need as nearly as much paint on the brush as what Citadel is recommending that you do. It is really hard to control a brush with that much paint on it. Don't do it. Or do it. I don't know. There are better painters out there than me that are going to recommend a different way of doing it. I mean, Peachy worked for Heavy Metal before he was on the painting crew, like on the Warhammer TV crew. So what do I know compared to him? But like, also, don't. It's really hard to edge highlight that way. It's really hard to accomplish any of your painting goals when you have so much paint on the brush that it runs off and puddles and pools. It's, yeah, I don't know. There are things that I learned when I was first starting off in this hobby that I hope nobody learns anymore, because it was just
bad advice that was designed to sell you on more things from a particular company. Sorry if I'm being real mean to Games Workshop today, and Games Workshop is your favorite, but like, I don't know. I'm disillusioned with them right now, I guess.
You're not wrong.
I mean, the point of, you know, what GW is doing with a lot of the products that are out right now and a lot of the things they've done in the last, like, I want to say 4 to 6 months has been to increase shareholder value. And there is nothing about that I think we should be behind, even though they make the coolest models. And they do objectively make the coolest models in our hobby. And I'm talking about the mass market side of it, not like Kickstarters and whatnot, or you know, something like Scale 75, where, you know, a model will be around for like a month or a year and then it's gone. For mass market models, nobody does it better than Games Workshop Citadel, right? But also, a lot of what they do is based off of capitalism, and sometimes they make sacrifices for capitalism, and those sacrifices are not always in favor of the community that they're supposedly serving. So, anyway, my rant about capitalism is now at an end, because I want people to like this channel and not just always be like, hey, there's the guy who's ranting about capitalism again. So yeah, sorry, just to get back to the model, we got a little bit more work to do. I'm also going to do a little bit of, so we're doing some scratchy textures in places. I'm going to do a little bit more scratchy texture just around the edge of his cuffs here on our sleeve ends. I want to add a little bit of noise. Perfectly.
You want to move a little up and to the right?
Sorry?
We can only see your fingers.
Oh, I'm sorry. But yeah, just getting more. So one of the things that you can do to really once you get to the technical part where you are able to keep a certain amount of paint on the brush and it's not running everywhere and you're keeping a nice fine tip on your brush and all the rest of it, one of the things that you can do once you're able to control that part of the painting process is you can do things like adding noise to a model. And when I say adding noise to a model, I have, of course, meaning you're going to take a sonic cannon from a noise marine and just blow really hard at it. But also, we're looking for something called visual noise. This is going to break up uniform surfaces and give more interest to the model itself. And when I say, what do I mean when I say interest to the model? Surfaces are rarely uniform, and when they are uniform, they are typically man-made and typically plastic. I can't really think of another surface that's actually like super consistent. I'm gonna go with plastics. Like it's something that is a result of a manufacturing process. So even things like cloth and stuff like that have elements of visual noise. So this is parts of it that don't fit a super smooth boundary or definitional boundary, right? So if we take a look at this guy's coat, the reason why it looks so cool and why there is because there's a lot of visual information here. We have a lot of different layers of paint in different colors layered over top of itself so that it looks like there is more going on than just a simple cape, right? Like just a nice smooth blend. Now we can improve that by continuing to build those colors into their proper places, which it's starting to bother me that they're not, but that's visual noise, right? If we look at this part of the model, that is visual noise. Up here on the top of the backpack, if I can get it to be in, yeah. So what is in focus on camera, you can see that it isn't absolutely consistent. There is little deviations. The paint job has, you know, imperfections in it. And it's not because I couldn't paint it so that it looked absolutely perfect. It's because it is more interesting visually when we see that there is more stuff going on, where there is extra reflections, whether it is inconsistency in surface type, all the rest of that stuff. That is the, like, those are the things that you are able to incorporate into a model when you're not just thinking of the placement of a color, right? When you're not just concentrating on making sure that you're not dumping paint everywhere. And this is the next level of painting, right? Like, I mean, I sounded really egotistical there for a second. I am not the only one who says this. You can go and watch much better painters than I am talk about adding visual noise to a project in order to make the project more visually interesting. And that is just a part of it. Hey, Barkax Miniatures, thanks for the follow, man. So it's one of those things that we can just continue to add little bits of visual noise into our paint job, and then to unify it, because we still want it to all look like it is part of the same material, right? So let's just keep this guy in focus. We want to make sure that this stuff looks like it is a part of the same model, right? So now that I've got this like nice, super bright, that is our universal highlight color. So we're using on this model white sands for it. But if we come back over it, and this is our mid-tone, so I'm just coming back in with deep red. Yes, we obliterate some of the contrast that we just put onto the model, right? Some of the brightest part of that bright white is gone. Some of the darkest parts of that model, so where we were using our universal shadow color as a glaze, yeah, some of that visual information is also gone. But this is the next level of this model, right? We want to add that sort of inconsistency of texture into the model. So it's not just a perfectly smooth blend into shadows, and it's not just a perfectly smooth blend into highlights. Now, there are some materials that do sort of render that way, that sort of look that way. As I said, plastic. The other big one that I can think of right now is silk, is very much that way. Silk is a very, very consistent material. Even when we are, using our actual human eyes on it from very close, it's very hard to see the weave and weft of silk, of high quality silks. I mean, other satins and stuff will mirror that as well, but that's where we're at. So we'll continue to add more information. So I am also altering slightly the hue of this color. So again, because we're using our warmer tones in this facing of the model, right? So this is our cold facing of the model. These are our cold shadows on this side. You can see the depth of those shadows. On this side, this is our warm side. So we've got a lot of warm tones. Again, I'm going to modulate this fabric in the same way. The parts that are facing towards our light source, that are reflecting our warm light source, are that are going to get more of this warm tone in them, just so that it gives us some contrast with the cooler side of this model, which is going to be on this guy, the shadowy side over here. And again, just working in the paint and hopefully staying on stream some of the time. So next for the series, we are going to skip chapter 2. We will come back to chapter 2 at some point in time. I'm actually just waiting for equipment more than anything, because I've got something weird planned. Oh, thanks, Barkax. Barkax? Barkax. We'll go with Barkax Miniatures. Yeah, so series, or we're going to skip chapter 2, and we're going to go, or Legion 2, and we're going to go straight to Legion 3. We've probably got one more stream on this guy, so next Tuesday at 5 o'clock Pacific times, 8 o'clock Eastern time, we're going to be back with this guy. We're actually, so I can tell you right now, we're finishing off metals for the next one. So we're going to be working just around the model. We're going to be working our golds. We're going to be also working on this meteor sword. So in the lore that we've created for this guy, he's got a sword that is made out of meteorite steel. So that's going to be a thing. We've also got the icons and stuff. You can see the metal around the model. Also across the crazy head for our Deathwing companion. And then that's going to be the end of this. And we are going to skip, as I said, over to the third chapter. So if you guys have any suggestions for what you would like to see in our third chapter, so that is going to be the Emperor's Children. So imagine if the Emperor's Children had never fallen to the ruinous powers, what do you think that they would look like? I'm interested to know everybody's thoughts on this, because I have thoughts. I have very definite thoughts about this, but I'm interested to hear what you guys think too.
Are your thoughts stupid, sexy fulcrum?
Yeah, I'm pretty much in the place of, man, Fulgrim is going to be so pretty. I wonder what Fulgrim's pretty sons and daughters look like, because, yeah, we're going to be painting the Emperor's children. I was about to say the Emperor's kids. But, yeah, no, I've got some definite plans for what I think they're going to look like, but I'd love to hear what you guys think they would look like. What do you think that Fulgrim's chapter, who never fell to the ruinous powers, what do you think that they would look like in Primaris armor? What would their weapons be? Because we no longer have, we aren't going to get to play with Noise Marines, unfortunately. So we got to come up with our own newer way of doing this. We got to figure out what we think they would look like if they weren't all Slaaneshed up. So if you guys want to leave comments and leave comment, you can always, of course, I'm open for chat right now with that sort of stuff. Adam and I, you and I have talked about it, what my plan is a little bit, right?
Yeah, we have. Off stream, of course.
Off stream. Because I want it to, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm waiting for somebody to say something that's better than my idea so I can steal it. I'm just going to straight up steal it from you.
Ooh, on mini news,
Oh, yeah?
my Liber Daemonica stuff is in Canada.
Oh, nice.
It'll just be like 2 weeks before I get it, because Canada Post is like that.
I actually was pretty surprised. I got stuff from sent up from California. It took like 3 days. So
I mean, Liber Daemonica's Russian, so it takes a bit.
fair enough. Yeah, so we're just going to keep adding a little bit more information, a little bit more noise into, if I can keep it in focus, there we go, into the actual shadow parts of the cloak here. Then I'm going to give a little bit more attention to our highlight side. And then we're pretty much going to wrap it up. So this is going to be, as I said, the second last stream for this guy. He's got one more pretty long stream that we're going to do. Again, if you want to follow along with this one, we're back on Tuesday of next week. So that is going to be Tuesday the 26th, I want to say. Maybe it's the 27th. 25th. Wow. I can do numbers. I definitely know
I
math.
believe it is. Yeah, it's the 25th because it's the 18th today.
Yeah, it is the 18th today. But regardless, so that'll be next Tuesday. But we are back live on Thursday as well. So we've got our other series, not just Project Neverfallen. On Thursdays, we run our Blood Bowl streams where I am painting up 2 different Blood Bowl teams for return to, well, not a return, my first trip to a painting competition. I want to go to Armies on Parade 2022. I'm hoping that it's in person because it is going to be very late this year. Well, early in 2022, actually, so it's not even this year. But in 2022, I want to be heading with at least one of our entries to Armies on Parade. So we are working on, last week we worked on the Oakland Raiders, which is our Oakland Raiders Blood Bowl team. We did a little bit of work on some skin tones. So we have both of our throwers here. They got some skin on them. Yep. Still got a little bit of work, but we're like 85-90% of the way there. It's a lot of what happens from here on out with these boys is going to be correcting for orientation, lighting, that sort of stuff. But we got some pretty awesome skin tones on those boys because so much of these models is black and matte black that yep. And then of course this week we're going to be working on these guys. So this is the New Halmgard Giants. This is our Dwarf Giants team. Working on those guys on channel. We're going to be doing a little bit of NMM gold. So we're going to be working on the gold on those guys. That happens this Thursday, 8:00 p.m. Pacific. It's actually going to happen to this specific dude. This is going to be the dude that gets the gold on there. So you can see what he looks like now. We're going to be non-metallic up by the end of stream on Wednesday. I'm definitely going to have his big old chest thing there all done. So that's going to be some fun times. If you liked what you saw, you can give us a follow. You can subscribe. You can hit the little bell notification if you're watching us on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, we would love it if you could subscribe, tell a friend about the channel, or you could always, if you are super into it, head over to our merch shop. It is just choiceminis.com. If you have feedback for the channel, I always want to hear it. I want to hear it so bad, guys. But you can give us feedback. Just email me, Choice Minis. You can find me on social media of your choice at Choice Minis. Adam, where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram at beach_vacation_Mando and follow the slow Mandalorian cosplay thing, which I made progress on tonight. I detached a fun electronic from the Boba Fett prototype helmet.
There you go. So we've got that stuff going on. We also have a giveaway for anybody who likes or follows us. We do monthly giveaways. Right now I've got Steam keys for Underworld. So if you happen to like PC games and you are on channel when we do the giveaway at the end of the month, that'll be cool. We all of our subscribers and followers will do the giveaway right at the end of the month. That's pretty much all I got, man. I know that I have an actual closing for this normally, but I am super disorganized tonight. So give me like 2 seconds while I actually pull that up, because I have lost my mind. Just lost it entirely. Let's see.
No worries, man.
No, it's fine.
I mean,
I'm feeling
stuff's on time this week, or today. I won't say this week.
I am feeling super duper. I just got a massive headache all of a sudden, like about halfway through streaming tonight. So it's been pretty fun to watch. Thank you, everybody, for watching, commenting, and being with us today. I'm Steve Thomas. Choice Minis on your social media of choice. You can follow me at Choice Minis. We already did that. If you liked what you saw, take a moment, give us a like, subscribe, hit the little bell. You can follow us on twitch.com/Choice Minis with a Z. You can find us on YouTube. Just look up Choice Minis. I would love it if you guys would all head over to Pete the Wargamer and Jose Da Vinci and just give them some love. If you if you have a model that, or suggestions for a model that you would love us to feature on the Hits on 2+ segment, you can always do that by emailing us with any feedback or anything else that you have at choiceminis@gmail.com. Boy. You can support us by buying us merch, donating, liking, commenting, subscribing, telling a friend, lying to your significant other about what we do here and getting them to watch. Adam, I love you, buddy.
You, dude.
We'll see you, everybody else, on Thursday. And Adam, I'll talk to you as a disembodied voice, I guess, on Thursday. We'll be back with the new Helmguard Giants doing some NMM Gold Thursday, May 20th, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, 5 o'clock